Hey guys, Andrew here, and welcome back to my channel. So, if you don't know what I do here yet, basically, if it's Canadian, I want to talk about it. Whether that's movies, whether that's TV, whether that's video games, the whole shebang. And today, I'm going to talk to you about something that, for many Canadians, it was just a part of growing up. But for most of the world, if you told them about it, they might scratch their head. So, let's dive in, shall we? Alright, so chances are if you've ever talked to a Canadian about what they watched when they were growing up, they may have mentioned something called a PJ. Now, if you're wondering what that is, I'll explain it to you quickly. So, a PJ is a program jockey, and what it is in between episodes of a programming block, they'll talk to the audience, they'll answer viewer mail, they'll basically just entertain the crowd until the next show. And why exactly are these very specific to Canada? Well, let me explain. You see, Canadian children's advertisers had different guidelines than US advertisers, and I'm guessing the rest of the world. You could not have more than 4 minutes, that's it, paid advertisements per half hour for kids programming. This meant that a lot of networks had to get creative. Now, TVO, which is like Canada's version of PBS, they didn't have to worry about that, but they still did their own version of that with the crawl space. Global TV, they really weren't too keen on it, so it seems like they just had a bunch of random segments they would air in between the shows just to kill time. But more importantly, probably the biggest one, YTV. Starting in 1988, YTV hit the airwaves with probably one of the most impressive lineups possible. But hey, what do you expect for a channel whose main audience is kids? Alright. Okay, so on weekends there were 2 programming blocks. There was Treehouse TV, which was kind of more oriented towards junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten, that age range, and was a lot lighter. They also had puppets known as the Fuzz Paws. Now, most of the shows on YTV had puppets, but Fuzz Paws would be the ones that would last the longest. From there, we went on to later in the day, which was, first, when I was a kid, it was Brainwash with Ed Brainbin and Carrie Funkwash, and later on it was changed to Vortex. And lastly, most importantly, The Zone. Originally known as the After School Zone, this was the one that everybody went home to go and watch. And it wasn't until 1991 when they really started to hit their stride, when they had a young man by the name of Phil Guerrero. There was just something so cool about Phil. He was nonchalant, he knew how to dress himself, and he always seemed like he was having fun. He would eventually get joined by Paul McGuire, and they would form a legendary duo. Like, let me explain. Everybody on the network would go on adventures, but theirs were the most legendary. The main one I want to bring up is Dark Knight. So every year, come Halloween time, there would be a spooky programming block where they would air some of their darker shows, and in between episodes, Phil and Paul would get into some sort of adventure. Now, this is like most Halloween episodes of a TV show, and come the next episode, they were back to normal. So whatever happened, didn't matter. And for 10 years, they were the ones running the show. But in 1999, they were deemed non-Y2K compliant, and YTV moved on. Now, they had a few different hosts in this time, but the one who seemed to stick would be Sugar. And then, after a little bit of a search, she would be joined by Carlos. Now, here's where I'm gonna have to drop off. Because while they were hosting YTV, I was a little bit older by this point. While I'm pretty sure Sugar and Carlos did a good job, I just wasn't into them at this point. I was a little bit older, and I was more into Much Music and my video games. GTA 3. What can I say? Alright guys, so that was a brief explainer on what a PJ is. Hope you liked it. Leave a comment, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Just be you. Hey, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you later.